Hello, I'm Superintendent Christopher Flanagan with the Radnor Township Police Department. Today, in front of the audience, we'll be talking to two members of Be Smart, a local organization that represents our local residents who are very interested in gun safety. I'd like to introduce my two guests now.
I'm Sarah Wallace. I live in Villanova, Pennsylvania, here in Radnor Township, and I've got two kids, 8 and 3.
And I'm Lauren Williams. I live in Wayne and have 4 kids, 14, 12, 10, and 3.
Excellent. I want to thank you guys for coming, and we're always very excited to have in our audience local residents in the studio so that we really can connect with our audience. So I think that one of the common denominators, you both talked about your children, is one of the big initiatives of Be Smart is to protect those children from the dangers of weapons, or specifically guns. And I was wondering if you guys could break it down to sort of what's being done locally with Be Smart and what's the goals across the country with Be Smart. And maybe we'll start with the across the country part of Be Smart. Tell us about yourself, and then if you wouldn't mind helping us locally, what we're doing to keep people safe.
Sure. So Be Smart is a program of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. So it is a national program, but it is truly the apolitical, non-legislation focused arm of Moms Demand. It's really about responsible gun storage. So it's not about taking guns away or the Second Amendment or any of that stuff that's debatable. It's really about, we know there are firearms, we want to keep people safe, keep kids safe, and it's about responsible gun storage. So we know that in America, 4.6 million kids live in homes with guns that are loaded and unlocked. So it's really about awareness around that and giving communities like Radnor the tools to keep us safer, ask the right questions, store guns responsibly, and just have that greater awareness.
So that's safety, and I think we would agree, or tell me the group's purpose, and also to remind people about that safe storage, because besides for that responsibility within your own house, you have people who come over, they have play dates, visitations, babysitting, that could enter a new thing. And then if they're stored properly or secured, even better, than if there was a crime committed in the residence where you wouldn't have any control over it regardless, at least the weapon's secured. Is that a safe thing to say?
Yeah, that's right. And I think you touched on a really important point of it, which is we do send our kids over to people's homes for play dates and things like that. My kids are a little older now, my older ones, but when they were younger and I wasn't even living here at the time, I never thought about that. Never thought about asking someone if they had safe. It's not about, do you have guns in your home and I'm judging you for that or not judging you for that. It's more about, if you have them, are they safely stored? Are they responsibly stored so that kids can't get a hold of them and have a terrible accident?
Okay. So obviously that's a lot of work across the country, but obviously we focus on things as well that are in Radnor Township. And maybe you could give us the perspective of Be Smart's goals right here in Radnor and the surrounding community.
Sure. One of the things we do is try to be present in the community with this message. So Lauren had a table. We table a lot at Fall Fest. I think you had seen her there and greeted her there. And really to make sure that people not only are aware of gun safety as an issue, but also to create a culture where we can reasonably talk about gun safety, especially as Lauren said on Playdate. The A in Be Smart stands for ask. We encourage people simply to ask about unsecured guns in other homes. So a great example, my kids were going over to a home, new friends, first visit to the home, but it's the same text exchange every time. So my kids have a ton of food allergies and pet allergies. So it's always, hey, my kids have a peanut allergy. Do you have any dogs? This mother volunteered the information that her home was smoke-free, pet-free, and gun-free, which took the stigma off the conversation and put me at ease without even having to ask. But that's an example of how it can be easily incorporated into an everyday exchange that you have with parents and friends all the time.
So you mentioned the letter A as being one of the key points, but I know that Be Smart, each letter means something very specific and has an important message to it. I was wondering if you guys could walk us through what the SMART acronym means and how we can apply it on our daily lives.
Sure. So the S in SMART is for secure your guns in your homes and your vehicle. And securing the gun for us means that it's locked, it's unloaded, and it's separate from the ammunition. So it's not hidden in a drawer. it's not up high where you think a child can't reach it. The responsibility really needs to rest with the parent to secure the gun and not with a curious child. The M stands for model safe behavior, which means always pointing in a safe direction. When you are firing a gun, knowing what your target is and what's behind it. Assuming that every gun you handle is loaded, starting with that assumption, and also to not just trust the safety on the gun. Again, the A is for ask, and really to, this is something that often gets overlooked. You can secure the guns in your own home, you can model the responsible behavior, but oftentimes people don't think about what goes on in other homes. So when your children are going to a play date or you're visiting family and relatives, it's important to actually ask about any unsecured guns in those homes as well.
And then the R is for recognize the risks of teen suicide, and I think suicide's a big part of the gun violence issue. People don't always think about when we have kind of a mass shooting or something, everyone kind of thinks about that, but suicide is a really big problem with unsecured weapons, especially with teens who have, their brains aren't developed the same way as adults are. They have, their impulse control is not always the same. Them having access to an unsecured weapon with suicidal thoughts is a terrible combination. So when we do the active shooter symposiums in Radnor, this will be the second one we have. We always have a mental health expert who can speak more to that and give us a little bit more perspective on that. But the R is for recognize those risks of teen suicide. And then the T is tell your peers. Again, it's just kind of paying it forward with the Be Smart program. Like I said earlier, I didn't know about asking about guns in the home when my kids were little. This program has brought a lot of awareness to myself and to others who just don't really think about this. So that's kind of the purpose of Be Smart, sort of pay it forward, get out there, get tables, get involved with Be Smart. You can go to besmartforkids.org on the website and sign up to volunteer if there's something you're interested in, but just kind of getting that awareness out there.
So what you're saying is on the website, we can review the SMART because there's a lot of very key information, but everybody can take a look, break it down, read through it. As I understand from my research for the show, there's actually videos to help people understand it in a different format as well. So it really looks like a very simple, clean, and well done website that you'll be able to pick up the information. So one is about safety and what's going on either nationally, locally, to your point, and then the other one can also be about, and I think you brought up before, that social issue, which is, hey, I kind of have to ask about this. It's smart to ask about these questions, and whether it's a food allergy or asking if weapons, would you say now that it's socially acceptable to ask a question like that?
I think it's getting more and more socially acceptable, especially, honestly, texting is sort of helping with this kind of thing. It takes the face-to-face out of it. If you're feeling awkward, you just kind of put it into a text. I'm sending Johnny over there. He's got no food allergies. Don't worry about anything about that. Just wanted to ask, no big deal, but do you have any unsecured weapons in your home? It makes it a little bit easier, but most people are pretty receptive. I've heard a lot of positive stories about people being nervous to ask, and then, the response was just like, of course, glad you asked, and no, and yes, our guns are secured, and this is how we secure them. So it's getting to be less and less of a stigma, hopefully. And
then locally with some of the families, have you noticed other people who aren't maybe involved with Be Smart starting to ask these questions?
Yes, certainly on a play date, people have asked me about my involvement with Be Smart and Mom's Demand and wanting to know more about it. It really is an increasing issue of concern for families here in Radnor as well. And part of the outreach with Be Smart is that there are mothers and others just like us who are trained in the program who can give presentations to PTOs, PTAs, church groups, play groups, moms groups, where it's a non-threatening social situation where, again, this can become part of a natural conversation and not something that parents have to worry about.
And I think that's also a great opportunity. So you guys can take this message to a small group, to a big church, a big school, and share it along with the website. So we have a local representation and a national representation. So there's a personal application because you guys believe in this. I mean, you're spending your time, and I guess somebody, if they wanted to help volunteer, they could as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the website will handle that and that whole process.
Absolutely. Get them connected.
That's excellent. I know that you guys are also involved in some other initiatives locally that involved responsible gun ownership and making weapons safer. I was wondering if you could tell me about that.
Sure, we're involved with Radnor Residents for Gun Safety. We've worked together in partnership with you and your team on an upcoming event happening next week to increase awareness about the resources that are available at the police department for turning in weapons, for gun locks. Our group actually all pitched in recently to raise money for the purchase of gun locks. And that donation was matched by the district attorney's office, which doubled our impact and our ability to purchase those gun locks. So we're looking forward to participating in that session with you next week.
Excellent. We are very excited about the partnership, and I'll pick up for the audience. This is actually one of the over 500 gun locks that the Radnor residents donated to make guns in our town safer. So the Radnor Township Police 24/7 can hand these out. And specifically, we're having a kickoff, if you will, on Tuesday, October 30th, 2018 at 6:45 p.m. at our Township building. We'll be having an active shooter safe school symposium, which deals with gatherings of either school or religious institution churches where we can make them safer. We're going to have a subject matter experts from safety, technology, and the Be Smart group, the Radnor Residents for Gun Safety, and these locks. The second part of the evening, even though we take guns back, will also be on October 30th from 6 to 10 p.m. We will have a Radnor Police firearm turn-in program. Both of these items are listed on our website and will be available to you to find out about this. And we have the Be Smart for Kids link right on the firearm turn-in. I do want to remind residents, business owners, and whoever's traveling through, we will take a weapon to make it safe, make the community safer, 24/7, 365. But we're promoting that awareness. Sometimes you forget about it. There could be a weapon upstairs from grandpa's time in the military, and you want to get rid of it, and you can do it safely, responsibly. All weapons are destroyed. They do not go to auction. They are not let out in any way, shape, or form. The police don't get them. They are secured. They are taken to a molten pot where they totally melt them down and any ammunition to make sure that it is safe. On our website is very specific directions, though, to enter a police station wherever you go safely. I'll just be real quick. You should not carry the weapon in with you. Leave it in. Go in. Tell the police department that you have it. They'll send a trained police officer outside to come collect the weapon and any of the ammunition. So just as a safety point, I want to go over that. You will also be, again, this lock will be able to be handed out. What I was excited about is the Be Smart group and the Radnor Residents for Gun Safety met District Attorney Kettiune Copeland, who believed in their mission instantly and matched their gift. So they'll be supplying us with another over 500 gun locks, so we'll be able to hand them out for some time to come. And I'm very excited about that, and I think acknowledgement is very important. One of the things, if somebody wanted to do Be Smart or have a conversation with a neighbor, would your team be able to kind of talk them through it, maybe on an individual basis? And I think maybe one touchy subject would be is if one person in a home had a firearm and the other person maybe wasn't quite sure how to deal with that. Would your group be able to assist in a scenario like that?
Sure. Then I think that kind of goes back to the point that Be Smart is a national program, but its intention is to bring this this awareness and these tools to the community like Radnor. So that's why we're here. We're absolutely happy to help. We've gone through a training that goes through many different scenarios of things people might say. Sometimes the conversation's easy, and other times it's not. You know, you get the answer, oh yeah, we do have a weapon in the home. It's loaded next to our bed, but the kids never go in there, you know, and then you got to figure out how to navigate that. So those are definitely things that we'd be absolutely thrilled to help people navigate.
And just to clarify, on October 30th, which is Tuesday night at 6:45 p.m., you guys will actually have a table set up at the Township so we could kind of go through these scenarios one-on-one with your specially trained people.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really good. Taking a look at what we're doing today, what would be some of the goals, either personally for you both, Be Smart organization or Radnor Residents for Gun Safety? What do you think the future looks like on getting this message out and making our town as safe as possible?
I think continuing to do things like we're doing in partnership with you. We meet monthly with Radnor Residents for Gun Safety, as well as with Moms Demand, which helps facilitate the Be Smart program. So there are always opportunities ongoing, again, both locally here with Radnor residents, but also through Moms Demand to get more involved. And I think we'll continue to see this grow as an issue of importance for people.
And I agree. And I think nationally, this is just a conversation that, when we find that it's a polarizing issue in certain cases, but it doesn't really have to be. When you really sit down and have a conversation with people and you think you disagree on certain things, we all really just want to keep the community safe. Given the, whatever the current circumstances and people's personal feelings about guns are, we know they're out there and we want to keep everybody safe. And nationally, I think, we get into these conversations and we're having a lot of positive impact. Really about that responsible storage and keeping guns out of the hands of kids so we don't have unintentional shootings. I mean, in 2017, there were about 290 unintentional shootings by kids in the U.S. And I think everyone would like to see that number go down to zero ultimately. So we can all work toward that.
And there's plenty that we can do, as you've noted in the times we've met with you and your officers, that there's plenty more like this that we can do just from a pure safety perspective as individual residents of Radnor to make our community safer in partnership with the work that you and your team are doing out on the street every day.
I think that's why I asked about those future goals, because you guys really laid out some important information. And also, I would ask the audience to really do your research on the websites, because sometimes people have connotations of where they're trying to do this or do that. And you guys really have a pure message, which is about gun safety. And it's not necessarily related to crime. It's related to issues or possible danger in your own home. Even kind of forget a visitor, which is just as important. But I know that nobody who had a gun would ever want somebody to be unintentionally injured by it. Mm-hmm. So it really does start in your own house with your own family and builds out with this message, which I think responsible gun ownership is critical. The Radnor Township Police Department takes very seriously gun safety and knowing how to use a weapon properly. It is important that you understand that there are ways that you can get professional training. Join clubs that support professional training to make sure that you understand the mechanics, the danger, how to operate it safely, how to clean it safely. That's very important. There's many incidents that occur during a cleaning process where people have not maintained the weapon and there's a round that accidentally discharges. And the problem with gun safety, I think you would agree, is one mistake is often a mistake that can't be corrected. Mm-hmm. So it does have dire consequences if something is done accidentally, even with the best intentions. So it's very important that if you do have a weapon or one was passed down to you in a gun collection, that you receive professional training and understand the uniqueness of each and every gun. As you mentioned, some have safeties, some don't. And of course, if you were to ever find a weapon unsecured, I think you guys would agree, we would just ask you to call 911 and never touch it, regardless if you're a juvenile or adult, because special training goes into collecting these weapons. If it was found outside, it could be involved in a crime, but we're really talking about safety here, and we just don't want anybody else to be injured by a gun because they have very serious, if not, unfortunately, deadly consequences. I think the audience really have a great opportunity, if you can't make the whole symposium or you're coming back from a kid's game or whatever, to stop in the lobby of the police station, because even if you miss part of it, 10 minutes of the presentation is going to be worthwhile. There's going to be an open question session where you could ask that, and the Be Smart volunteers and the Radnor Residents for Gun Safety will be in the lobby during the whole event so that you can go one-on-one with them, even have a private conversation if you're not sure how to handle it, because the social aspect of this is an important one to get over so that we can find out if a area is safe from guns. Well, that brings us to the end of our program. We hope to see everybody. Please look at the Radnor Township website where we have the Be Smart website posted on 2 different locations. One is on our active shooter page, which is a resource page to help you safely navigate or practice for an active attack. And then also on our 2, the symposium sheet and the gun turn-in sheet, it has the website printed on both of those flyers, and we hope to see you there. I would really like to thank you both for coming in. It's been very informative, and talking about gun safety is excellent, so thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.